850 WIBX, and I'm really excited as the Mets tonight are back in it.
Yeah.
2-0 up on the Cubs. And on the line right now is a former New York Met from the 86 team. From the world champion New York Mets in 1986 is Ed Hearn. Ed, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming on the air.
Man, I barely made it. I had that case of jelly buns. Got down to 3 this morning.
Well,
I was trying to match a man Keeler out there in Utica, boy. I'm telling you, it was tough.
It is not easy. It is not easy.
I might need that last guest you had on.
So,
Toilet man.
Oh, he could come in. Listen, in just 2 days, you got a brand new bathroom. Listen, it's funny because I worked for the Little Falls Mets, and when you were traded, you were traded away from the Mets? Would have been 87, right?
Oh, God, Bill, I love you. Yeah, you don't remember? I'm the most valuable guy for the Mets.
I know.
Because I'm the guy who got traded to Kansas City, and you guys got
David
Cone.
David Cone, yeah.
David Cone. And
Yeah.
but in that trade, I thought it was really kind of funny. I worked for the Single A Little Falls Mets,
Right.
and Mauro Gazzo was a part of that trade, and I knew him well. He was a pitcher that he didn't go very far, but he was a pitcher for the Little Falls Mets. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Just my part of the story. But listen, you were a part of the '86 Mets, and here we are going in to the Cubs up 2-0. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm excited for the Mets, and I'm excited for the Cubs. Actually, Wrigley was my favorite away place to play in the National League. I just love the fans there. They're great, but I tell you, I don't keep up with the game too extremely. I've got my groupie wife that I married from South Shore, Long Island, when I was up there in '86. She kissed the prince and got the frog because my life went downhill after. Well, maybe that was her fault.
Yeah,
Because I was fine until I met her.
Until you met her. Well, we'll talk about what you went through, and you went through an awful lot. But before I get there, how are you going to handle? Because you went on to the Kansas City Royals as well. How are you going to handle a Mets-Royals World Series if that were to happen?
Bill, a lot of people, especially in New York, have been asking me that. I think in Kansas City they just want to get rid of me here and not show up. But but the people in New York, I'm getting a lot of feedback on Facebook. Everybody's like, "What are you going to do? Are you coming to New York?" And I'm like, "Well, finally, I said, well, I got to let these people know something, I guess." So I did a little thing on my computer and put together a Met Oils uniform.
Oh, I like it.
Yes. And,
I'm looking at it.
I may have even posted that on your Facebook page.
I see it right now. We're going to share that out, and that is it's half Mets and half Royals. What a jersey there. That's perfect.
And you see that I got dueling jelly buns for you.
I love it.
One with a Royals cap, one with a Mets cap.
That is awesome.
I play both sides of the fence. The problem is it's been 31 years for the Royals. It's been 30 years for the Mets.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you, I'm just thirsty, man. I want to celebrate.
So
I'm not picky.
100 years for the Cubs.
Your book is Conquering Life's Curves, Baseball, Battles, and Beyond. You went through a real tough time.
Well, I got traded to Kansas City, and, I was with the Toronto Blue Jays. There's another tie to this current postseason.
Yeah.
My fiance and John and his wife were at spring training at our condo the night I got the trade news, and I said, "John, you got my job. Anything else you need here? You're eating my snook, which is a good eating fish." And,
yeah.
And so I get traded to go to Kansas City, and I was torn because I was like, man, this team is so dynamite, this New York club. I mean, I may be missing out on some rings, some bling, in the next 3 or 5 years. Obviously, that did not happen.
Yeah, because
I have my reasons, but I won't go there.
Yeah.
And so I go to Kansas City on starting catcher. They want me to catch the guys, young staff in '85 with Charlie Liebrandt and Dick Saberhagen, all guys that are 19 to 22 years old, and they wanted a young guy to be with them. And next thing I know, 2 weeks into the season, my rotator cuff just goes to shreds. And reconstructive surgery. I battled 3 years to come back. The 1990 strike or lockout probably cost me a chance to do that.
Yeah.
And so I go, hey, I had an appointment to West Point, 396 GPA out of high school. Both clubs wanted me to stay in management and that sort of thing, and I just felt like I had other things to do, and so I I went to transition into the real world, went to work in the insurance business. Excuse me. That was my second biggest dream as a kid, being an insurance salesman.
I figured that was every kid, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Every kid.
But I learned, like most kids, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And so, but in the training for that, I was falling asleep and just feeling terrible. And so I went to the doctor, and they diagnosed me with end-stage renal failure, a condition called hypogammaglobulinemia, and severe sleep apnea. And that was just the beginning. By the end of that year, so I'm 1 year out of the game, and I'm on dialysis and had my first of 3 kidney transplants.
Wow.
I've taken a 10,000 IV treatment once a month. I've done that for 22 years.
Wow.
And the side effects of the medication, I mean, those 30 pills, I mean, pharmaceuticals are great, but, man, it's just, it's like our son. We got hit again here 4 years ago. Our 17-year-old son was diagnosed stage 3 non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and we got him in remission quick, but the chemo just caused all sorts of stuff. And it's been a journey, man, but I tell you, I've had the opportunity to travel the country speaking and sharing my story, my journey from the penthouse to the outhouse, and most importantly in my life, it's the back part that counts. Baseball battles and beyond. It's the beyond part, because, man, it's the best medicine I can take when I get out there in front of an audience. I've spoken all over the country to it's from 50 to 5,000 people, and I don't care because I know there's some people there that need some encouragement, some perspective.
We're talking to Ed Hearn. He was a member of the 1986 New York Mets, played behind Gary Carter, and it's amazing what you've been through in your life, and you're able to you get up every day and you turn it into something.
Well, I mean, I'm just following Christine's lead. I mean, Christine's got a hell of a deal coming to work every day and working with you.
You betcha.
So, I mean, I figure if she can do it, by golly, I can do it.
I love it.
Thank you, Ed.
Hey, so I want to go back just to 86 for a second. I mean, what a year. Bob Murphy calling those games. I mean, it was a magical season. But you never got to get in once. I mean, how did you handle that?
I didn't get into. I missed that. You cut out on me.
Well, you weren't able to get into the series during the '86 series. I mean, how was that?
Well, that was the first year that Major League Baseball cut rosters from 25 to 24 men.
Right.
And that meant only 2 catchers. And so I knew going in because, well, number one, Gary's a playing hog.
Yeah.
Or Gary Carter. No,
yeah.
I mean, we want the Hall of Famer in there, right?
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Absolutely, yeah.
But if he's out, I'm in, or I pinch hit or something, then he goes down, then it's a fiasco because we got Kevin Mitchell catching.
Yep.
If you can picture that.
Right.
So the other thing is, how did I handle it? Well, especially in Game 6, I moved around the bench till I found a hot spot. I got a splinter about 2 inches long in my butt, but I couldn't leave because we were coming back in Game 6 there.
Yeah.
We were down 2 strikes, 2 outs to 4 hitters, and I found that spot by the camera bay, and the splinter caught me in the butt, but I couldn't move initially. But then things started going well. Superstitious guys, and next thing you know, all hell breaks loose, and we win Game 6 and go on to win Game 7 2 days later.
I was at Game 7. We drove down all the way on Game 7 on Sunday, and it rained out. Came back on Monday and win the World Series. It was pretty amazing. Your book is something people should get. It really is inspirational, and I'd love to be able to bring you up here to talk sometime because I think your story is incredible. Conquering Life's Curves. Baseball.
Bill, I love it up there.
Yeah.
You're up there in
we're
almost
close to
God's country.
We're close to Cooperstown.
Oh man, I've been there so many times. My book, I sit alongside of Warren Spahn and Bob Feller and Willie McCovey, and here's little Ed.
Yeah.
With this book, but I wrote that book. It's 20 years old, but it's an evergreen story that I wrote in large part because my son was a year old, and I didn't think I'd be alive when he was a teenager. When kids that age need a father. I'm so big on fathers in our country today.
Yeah.
I have a nonprofit called The Bottom of the Ninth, where character counts, and I say in baseball, the good teams, the white hats are tied or behind, and I say, that's the only time the ninth inning happens, bottom of the ninth, and I say America's in that spot, man.
You're right.
We got to come back. I would encourage people to go to that website, Bottom of the Ninth, just to see how I see our country.
We'll put a link up in our show notes. And Ed Hearn, thanks so much. Stand by. I want to get you back.